This is the godmother herself at the biggest of the corruption trials so far, last November. Xie Caiping got 18 years for illegal gambling, bribery and drug dealing. She was pretty well connected. Her brother-in-law, Wen Qiang, was the head of the Chongqing Justice Department. He's now been sentenced to death. This is the man who's been given the task of defeating corruption here. Bo Xilai is the overall boss of the municipality, a national figure sent down from Beijing to sort the place out. That's exactly what he's doing. Mr. Bo is a very tough and ambitious character, and he's communist aristocracy. His father was a colleague of Mao Zedong. Yet Mr. Bo is the new China. He sent his son to Harrow and Oxford.
Only
the people can decide whether my campaign against corruption is a success or not. It's not a question if I'm satisfied with the way the campaign is going. The public will have the final verdict.
The public have already been turning out to demonstrate against corruption. Officialdom in China likes to give the impression that these events, highly organized, are purely spontaneous. There's even a song in his praise, written and sung by a factory worker, Li Lei. At big national gatherings of the Chinese Communist Party, Bo Xilai cuts a significant figure. Various Western commentators have suggested that he may have big political ambitions. The selection process for the next Chinese leadership will take place next year. Mr. Bo is becoming highly popular throughout China. But is it possible that, in stamping down so hard on corruption, Bo Xilai has been bending the rules a bit too much in order to get convictions? A Beijing-based lawyer, Zhou Mingyong, who's defending one of the main figures in the latest trial, certainly thinks so. His client has now been sentenced to death. Mr. Zhou is nervous about speaking to us. Just a few years ago, he'd never have made accusations like these publicly to the Western media.
It's been very important for the city officials to win this case, but we, defence lawyers, are worried because we've seen some serious violations of the legal process. We witnessed some illegal operations in this case.
What do you mean by illegal operations?
Before the trial started, it was very difficult to arrange meetings with my client, and when I did, it was always under police supervision.
Do you see any evidence that torture's been used on your client?
Even though the police were always present when I was meeting my client still gave me suggestions that he was being tortured during the investigation, during the questioning.
Could the accusations be true? We went to see a university law professor who's a member of a committee appointed to oversee the way the prosecutions for corruption have been conducted here. The idea of having such a committee would have been pretty unthinkable in the past. The same goes for Professor Gao Ye-fen's answer when I asked him about the possibility that torture had been used.
China's legal system isn't perfect. I would say this is common in China. I'm suspicious of this situation, and I hope in future the government will make these things more transparent. It's the responsibility of the government to assure the public that suspects are not being tortured.
It does, though, have the air, doesn't it, slightly, of the results of having an energetic, tough-minded politician coming to a place and determined to root out the big problem as fast as he can.
这个是没有问题的。
I think you can definitely say that.
You can see from what he says that things are moving on in Chongqing and in China generally. Not so with everything here. We soon began to realize that everywhere we went, a discreet silver Honda went with us.
The car just behind you? Mm-hmm. Huh? Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes. They're directly behind us.
Yeah.
Oh. And when we were filming, someone usually seemed to be watching, which was odd, given that we were only here because the Chongqing authorities had invited us. After that, this looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Altogether, we didn't seem to be particularly welcome guests. Bo Xilai, whom I'd met twice before, was too busy to see us. The mayor of Chongqing agreed to be interviewed and then cancelled at short notice. And when I gave a lecture organised by the British consulate in Chongqing about the Western media, none of the senior local journalists and officials who had accepted invitations turned up. One of them said it was too sensitive. The only people who came were media students. Two officials, the local government spokesman and the head of investment, did agree to see us. It wasn't exactly a very relaxed occasion, though they agreed that Chongqing needed to be more open.
We need more openness in Chongqing, because Chongqing is a landlocked municipality. It's a mountainous municipality. There is a lot of not-so-open mindset still existing in Chongqing. That is why we have to improve on that as well. We need to change the mindset of the people, and especially of the government here. We need the government to be more open.
You say the government needs to be more open. I've never been treated with such nervousness anywhere I've been in my career. And everywhere we go in Chongqing, we're being followed. Why is this? If we need more openness, where is this? Why is there so much nervousness of us?
我从我的理解哈，市长答应你了，没有。
As for the car that has been following yours during the past 2 days, I think you don't need to worry about that. I wonder whether it's the Foreign Affairs Office that has sent the car to follow you, in order to provide a service, a better service. I believe they have very good will.
Then the interview resumed its normal course.
这个问题非常好。
So I personally believe, that in the next 30 years, Chongqing will be a city that has the most opportunities, both for development and for investment.
国家发展战略的一个重点。
This city is changing with enormous speed. The old attitudes, the old fears about outside influences are fading remarkably quickly. Increasingly, it's all about the difference in generations. People like Deng Kai, the princeling who's returned after 7 years in Britain, represent an entirely different way of thinking and doing things.
Because China's standard of the past is quite different from the Western world, but now as China is adopting to the world, so does the people. So the young generations are the pioneer, I guess.
He and his friends here formed a dining club called the Sea Turtles. In Chinese, this sounds the same as people who've come back from abroad. They're lively, irreverent, and hugely self-confident. Mentally, they've left the old China far behind. Here in Chongqing, as in cities right across the country, they represent the true political and economic future. It's a revolution. In 20 years, they'll be running China.
Only the people can decide whether my campaign against corruption is a success or not. It's not a question if I'm satisfied with the way the campaign is going. The public will have the final verdict.
And ambitious character, and he's communist aristocracy. His father was a colleague of Mao Zedong. Yet Mr. Bo is the new China. He sent his son to Harrow and Oxford, given the task of defeating corruption here. Bo Xilai is the overall boss of the municipality, a national figure sent down from Beijing to sort the place out. That's exactly what he's doing. Mr. Bo is a very tough. This is the godmother herself at the biggest of the corruption trials so far, last November. Xie Caiping got 18 years for illegal gambling, bribery and drug dealing. She was pretty well connected. Her brother-in-law, Wen Qiang, was the head of the Chongqing Justice Department. He's now been sentenced to death. This is the man who's been